Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Joyful Pause. I know it's a little late, um, but I'm going to speak on this before the day ends. And what I really want to say is that based on what I'm seeing just over like the past week since I started the channel, um, is that there really is not an overwhelming liking or a response to the discussion of caregiving. Um, I don't. Caregiving is a very heavy topic. Um, I think it's a topic that we're all going to face at some point in our lifetime, whether it's caregiving for ourselves or whether it's caregiving for a loved one and us having to come to terms to make that decision, or for a child, it doesn't have to be for an elderly person, but just for a loved one. There's going to be there's going to come a time and point somewhere in your lifetime where you're going to be involved and you're going to need to be in position to make a decision as to what you're going to do, a decision about what you can live with. And everybody's decision is different. There's no one size that fits all. So a decision that you make or come to terms with for your loved one may not necessarily be what fits or works for the next person. If putting your loved one in a facility is the best thing that works for you and you can live with that, that is your decision. And no one has a right to judge or condemn you or any of those things. As I stated, everyone's decision is completely independent of their particular situation. However, my reasoning for wanting to sort of build the crux of my channel around caregiving, I don't think that there is an overwhelming response that people really want to talk about it. It's a very heavy subject. It's a subject that's very difficult for me to even talk about. After 9 years, the most recent being 2023 when I laid mom to rest. And it's been 3 years, but it's still recent for me. And so when I share my stories, and I had anticipated sharing many other stories with you guys, but in bringing those stories up, many of which I have tried to lay to rest, is very difficult for me. It's not easy. It's painful, it's emotional, and it's heavy. So trying to share that and not feeling like there's an interest there is something I just really had to have I had to sit down and have a come to Jesus reality talk with myself about what I'm doing here and sort of reanalyze this whole thing. And so there's just so much that I thought that I was going to be able to share on that pretense with regard to what I learned in the systems that I didn't know, that I walked alone, that I really didn't want anybody else to have to experience, that if I could get on here and share what I discovered the hard way. It's just like, as parents, we try to pave the way and not want our children to experience the hurts and the trials and the tribulations and the mistakes that we did. And so we try to prevent those bumps if we can. And so in doing that, I anticipated that I would get on here, I would share what I experienced and what I lived. Again, not what I read or the nurse told me or a neighbor shared with me, but actually what I truly lived. I learned a lot about the hospice systems and how they don't tell you what they there's a lot they don't tell you that they don't want you to know. I learned a lot about social work and the social worker that comes out and the chaplain that comes out and what it means when they bring oxygen and a person that's actually transitioning right before your eyes, and you don't even know and you don't recognize it because you just don't know death and you've never seen it. And if you've never seen it and you don't know, what do? There's a definite cultural difference in Los Angeles in the healthcare system where comprehending and getting across these things to loved ones regarding patients, there's a gap there, a big gap culturally, and it's anticipated that they think that you know what's happening, and you don't because you've never lived it, and because you haven't lived it, you're expecting them as their job to be able to tell you and to show you, but they don't until it's too late. And so, as I stated, there's so much that I learned on my own, and I wanted to share it. But in all honesty, I don't think it's the way to go with my channel. I think that in order to save myself, I'm going to change the trajectory of my channel into really what I'm doing present tense in my life and the way that I'm anticipating and wanting my life to be now, in living free and with peace and with serenity, because this actually and truly is my last inning, the final chapter of my life, and this is like my only opportunity here to get it right. I'm 67, going to be 68 this year, and only God knows when our when our card is up. I can't say. It could be tomorrow, it could be next year, it could be 10, 20 years from now. Only God knows that. But what I am saying is that I definitely have more life behind me than I do in front of me. And so knowing that, I have to pick and choose what makes sense. And so I choose peace, and I choose joy and happiness. And that's how I'm planning on moving forward with my channel. And I'll probably take a step back a day or two to realign. But it's not with a heavy heart that I'm saying this. I'm just looking at the situation as it is. No rose-colored glasses on or sugarcoating things. I don't think, in my opinion, that this avenue is going to be the thing that works for me, because caregiving truly and honestly is not. It's a lonely, empty place, and people don't want to visit that. it's lonely and it's empty across the network and other channels that I've looked at. People don't respond. Very few people want to talk about it. And it's sad. But I can't change the world. I can't change the world, guys. So I know that it's late, but I definitely did not want the day to conclude before I updated you on the outcome of the discussion that I had with self. And from that point, you know, I realign, I dust myself off, and I start again. And I told you guys that in the first video. You know, I wasn't sure 100% of the direction. And only God knows I may change the direction again. But know that if it is something that you want to email me about or discuss in the comments later, I'm always open to helping or answering anything that I can individually, but I am not going to base the pretense of my future videos with regard to heaviness of caregiving. And with that, guys, I'm going to bid you a good evening, a good night, and I hope that everyone has a restful and a peaceful evening. On the next video, good night.